There's a moment, a very specific moment, when a woman decides if you're different from every other man she's ever met. And here's what nobody tells you. She doesn't announce it, she doesn't send a text, she doesn't pull you aside and say, "Hey, I think you're special." No, she makes that decision in complete silence, while you're standing right there. And if you don't know what to look for in that exact moment, you lose her. Not because you did something wrong, but because you didn't see what she was secretly showing you. I'm going to show you that moment today. And once you see it, you'll never unsee it again. But before we go deeper, I need to be honest with you. The men who understand what I'm about to share don't struggle with women. They don't overthink. They don't guess. They just know. And the men who don't, they keep missing these moments. For years. Sometimes forever. If you want to be the man who sees what others miss, hit subscribe right now. Because this channel, Mind of Connection, is the only place where we break down female psychology in a way that actually makes sense. Not pickup tricks, not manipulation, just real connection. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back. You know exactly why you're here. Now let me ask you something. When you're talking to a woman you really like, how do you know she feels the same way? Most men look for obvious signs. They wait for her to laugh at every joke, or touch their arm, or say she had a great time. But here's the truth. Those signs, anyone can fake them. A woman can laugh at your jokes and still forget you the moment you walk away. She can touch your arm and still see you as just another guy. The real signs are much quieter. They happen in the spaces between words, in the moments she thinks you aren't watching. And today, I'm going to break down 7 of those silent signals. The ones that tell you, without any doubt, that she has decided you are different. Not better looking, not richer, not more popular, just different. And in her mind, different is everything. The first sign is something I call the pause, not the awkward pause. Not the pause where she's checking her phone or looking around the room, the intentional pause. When most men talk to a woman, they fill every silence because silence feels uncomfortable. They think if the conversation stops, the connection stops. But when a woman thinks you're different, she stops trying to fill the gaps. She lets silence sit between you. And she doesn't rush to break it. She breathes differently around you. Her shoulders drop. She might look at you with a small smile that says, "I don't need to perform right now." Why? Because around you, silence feels safe. It feels full instead of empty. She doesn't need to entertain or impress or keep the conversation going like a machine. She can just be. And that pause, that's her subconscious saying, "This man doesn't need me to be anything other than what I am right now." If you notice her getting quieter around you, not more talkative, that's not boredom. That's the deepest kind of comfort. And comfort is the first doorway to real attraction. Not excitement, not thrill, comfort. Because excitement fades, comfort stays. The second sign is how she looks at you when you're not looking at her. Most guys watch for eye contact. They think if she's staring into your eyes, she must be into you. But eye contact is easy. She can look you in the eyes and still feel absolutely nothing. She can maintain perfect eye contact while planning what she's going to eat for dinner. The real signal happens in your peripheral moments. When you're telling a story and looking away at something across the room. When you're focused on your food or checking the time. When you turn your head to grab your drink or look at the menu. In those split seconds, she studies you. Not your face, not your clothes, not your haircut. She watches how you move through the world. She notices if you're kind to the waiter who messed up your order. If you hold the door for someone without making a show of it. If you take a deep breath and actually relax when you think no one is watching. She's collecting data about who you are when the spotlight isn't on you. And if she likes what she sees in those unguarded moments, her decision is already made. You just don't know it yet. But she does. She decided 5 minutes ago. The third sign is what she shares with you, not the stories she tells at dinner, not the funny childhood memory or the travel adventure, the fears she whispers, the doubts she barely admits to herself. Every woman has a vault, a place where she keeps the thoughts she doesn't share with first dates, with coworkers, with most of her friends, sometimes even with her family. When she thinks you're different, she starts unlocking that vault. Slowly, carefully, testing the waters. She might mention that she still misses her dad who left 10 years ago. She might tell you about the dream she gave up because someone told her she wasn't good enough. She might admit that she feels lonely even when she's surrounded by people. These aren't casual conversations. These are tests disguised as vulnerability. She's handing you pieces of her heart to see if you'll handle them gently. And most men fail without even knowing they were being tested. They try to fix her. They give advice. They say, "You shouldn't feel that way," or "Just be positive." But the man who sees what others miss, he just listens. He holds the space. He says, "I understand. That must be hard." And that response, that's what makes her think, Finally, someone who doesn't try to change me. Finally, someone who lets me be broken and beautiful at the same time. The fourth sign is how she treats your time. When a woman sees you as ordinary, she fits you into her schedule like a dentist appointment, something to get through. When she sees you as different, she protects your time like it's her own. She shows up early. She doesn't cancel last minute unless something is actually wrong. And when she is with you, her phone stays in her bag. Not because she's trying to impress you, but because she genuinely doesn't want to be anywhere else. Here's something most men never notice. She starts referencing future moments, not big dramatic ones, small ones, casual ones. She says we should try that new coffee place next week. Or, you'll love this movie, I'm saving it for us. That word, us, it slips out before she can catch it. And when it does, she might pause for a second, wondering if you noticed. You should notice, because that word is her heart speaking before her mind can approve the message. Her mind is still being careful, but her heart already knows. And when she starts saying us instead of me and you, she's not just planning a coffee run, she's building a world in her mind where you exist together. The fifth sign is her jealousy. Not the dramatic kind, not the interrogation, not the scene from a movie where she throws a glass of water in your face. The quiet kind, the subtle kind that she tries to hide even from herself. When you mention a female coworker or a friend from college, she doesn't ask 1,000 questions. She doesn't get angry. But her energy shifts, just slightly. Her smile becomes a little more fixed. She might look away for a moment and then look back with a little more intensity. She might change the subject smoothly, but not before she stores that information away. She remembers names you mentioned in passing. She brings them up weeks later in casual conversation. This isn't insecurity. This is investment. She only feels that flicker of jealousy because she has already decided you matter. And the idea of someone else seeing what she sees, that bothers her. Not because she doesn't trust you, but because she knows your value before you've fully realized it yourself. She sees the man you could be, and she doesn't want anyone else getting there first. The sixth sign is how she introduces you to her world. At first, it's casual. A friend happens to be at the same place. Her sister stops by the restaurant. It seems accidental. But nothing is accidental when a woman is testing you. Then it becomes intentional. She wants you to meet her best friend, the one whose opinion she actually trusts. The one who has seen her through heartbreak and bad decisions. She wants you to meet the people who raised her. Not because she's trying to move fast, but because she needs the most important parts of her life to see what she sees. She needs validation that she's not imagining this, that you really are different. And here's the part that breaks most men. They get nervous, they try to perform for her friends, they try to be the funniest guy in the room, they try to impress her parents with achievements and stories. But the man who understands female psychology knows better. He knows that her best friend isn't looking for a comedian. She's looking for a man who makes her friend feel safe. A man who looks at her the same way in front of others as he does when they're alone. That consistency, that's the gold standard. That's what makes her friend pull her aside later and say, he's different. Keep this one. Don't let this one go. The seventh and final sign is the one most men miss completely, because it looks like rejection, it looks like distance, it looks like she's losing interest, but it's actually the opposite. There comes a moment when she pulls back, just a little. She stops initiating every conversation. She takes longer to reply. She seems a little less available, and most men panic. They think they're losing her. They start chasing harder. They send more messages. They try to prove their worth. They ask, is everything okay? Are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong? But here's what she is actually doing. She is testing if you'll still be there when she stops performing. She is asking, without words, do you like me? Or do you just like the attention I give you? Do you want me? Or do you just want the validation of being wanted? This is the moment that separates the men who understand connection from the men who only understand pursuit. The man who gets it, he stays steady. He doesn't chase. He doesn't panic. He doesn't flood her phone with messages. He gives her space and lets her come back on her own terms. And when she does come back, and she will, she comes back with certainty. Because she needed to know that your interest in her wasn't just a reaction to her effort. It was real. It was solid. It was different. And now she knows. Now I want you to think about the last woman who made you feel like you were chasing smoke. The one you couldn't figure out. The one who seemed interested one day and distant the next. The one who had you lying awake at night, wondering what you did wrong. Looking back, how many of these 7 signs did you miss? How many moments was she silently showing you that you were different, but you were too busy looking for the obvious signs to see the real ones? How many times did she hand you her heart and you tried to fix it instead of hold it? How many times did she say us and you didn't even hear it? Most men will watch this video and forget it by tomorrow. They'll go back to the same old patterns, the same old confusion, the same old frustration. They'll keep looking for loud signs in a world that whispers. But you're not most men. You're still here. You're still listening. And that means something. That means you're ready to see what others miss. You're ready to be different. Before you go, I have a question for you. And I want you to be honest in the comments. Which of these 7 signs have you seen before, but you didn't know what it meant at the time? Was it the pause? The vault? The word us? The way she looked at you when you weren't looking? Drop your answer below. I read every single comment, and I want to know your story. I want to know which moment changed everything for you. And if this video helped you see something you couldn't see before, remember where you learned it. Mind of Connection. The place where we don't just talk about attraction. We talk about understanding. We talk about seeing what others miss. We talk about becoming the man who doesn't need tricks because he understands the language that has been spoken around him his whole life. The language of silence. The language of pauses. The language of moments that most men walk right past. I'll see you in the next one. But until then, start watching for the silence. That's where the real conversation has been happening all along.